So in this video we're going to configure and manage layer 2 bridging. So what is layer 2 bridging? Layer 2 bridging will basically bridge VXLAN networks with VLAN networks. So if you have a virtual machine living in the virtual world connected to NSX with VXLAN and you want to talk to a other server which lives in the physical world which is connected to a VLAN, you can bridge these two servers together or network devices together, and then you can create a connection between them like as they were in the same VLAN or in the same network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little setup in order to test this. First I will create a logical switch, and then I will create a logical distribution router. We already have one, but I just want to keep things separate. And we're going to create two new VMs, so one web VM and one database VM, and the web VM I'm going to connect that to the layer 2 bridge, or the logical switch that I'm going to call layer 2 bridge, and I'm going to assign an IP address to that. And the other virtual machine that I'm going to create, I'm going to connect that to a normal port group which lives in the VLAN space, in my case VLAN 11, and I'm going to assign also an IP address to that. So at the end we will make a ping from this VM which is in the VXLAN space to this VM which is in the VLAN space, and I'm also going to try to ping to my default gateway, which is actually a core layer 3 switch. It's a physical switch, Cisco 3560. So let's start with this list. So I'm going to create a new logical switch first, and we already did that in another video. So there you go. And the second thing that we're going to do is we are going to create a new logical distribution router. So the new LDR is deployed. So let's see if we can find it. It's something important that I'm able to ping at least something in the network. So we know that the management is connected correctly. So now we're going to create a new web VM. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone one of the existing ones, which is so the cloning has started. I'm going to clone another virtual machine immediately. And as you can see here, the progress. We'll wait until that's finished. So the actual cloning is finished, and let's start with the web server. So let me first clear out the networks. I do not want to have this adapter connected. I only want to have this adapter connected, just to be sure that, well, We won't do crazy stuff. So let's first of all assign this web server to a VXLAN before I actually boot it up and start configuring the IP address. Let's go to logical switch and then the one we created, and we want to add a virtual machine. We're going to use this one, the Web3, and we're only going to use this one here. The other one is actually not connected. So that's finished, and as planned we are going to place this one onto the LS bridge. So let's first of all power on the virtual machine. And the same applies for the other virtual machine. We are going to disconnect this one. We are going to place this one on VLAN 11 on the distributed switch. So we can power on this one as well. So in the meanwhile we can create, while these two are powering up, the virtual machines, we can create the bridge, and we will do that by going to network and security and the edge. We created this logical distribution router especially for this purpose. So let's go to bridging, to bridge VLAN 11. We want to use this bridge or this logical switch, and then we want to bridge the VLAN 11 distributed port group. Hit OK, publish. It actually gives me an error here. Bridge cannot connect to DV port group. DV port group VLAN 11 with VLAN ID 0. So that's not really a problem. We will just switch because I am having a little bit of funky setup here. So let's adjust that and use VLAN55. It doesn't really matter though. And publish. Now it says bridge ID 1. Because we're using VLAN55 right now, I'm just going to change the name a little around just to make it consistent. And we now have one bridge created on the new logical distribution router 03. Let's see how my web server is doing. So let's log in here. And we can see the Ethernet 0 and the Ethernet 1 interface. So let's get rid of that. So to make it more neat, let me also adjust the HTML file that I'm using. Let's go to the database server. Let me go back to the web server tree and change the hostname here. This one came back as tree. We actually assigned it to VLAN55. So if I log in, I should be able to ping to 10.55.55. Well, myself of course. And I should also be able to ping to there. I'm able to ping myself as well from this server here. So let's go back to the overview. We have created the web server tree and we have placed the Ethernet 0 onto the logical switch. Or we did not. No, we did not. Yes, we did. We did, yes. And we assigned a layer 2 switch bridge, assigned a static IP address. Well, this one should actually be different due to some limitations of my environment. I needed to improvise. And this one is 5555. So this one is VLAN55, and I guess we've got rid of all the 11s. So we have created a new database VM. We assigned that to a VDS port group in VLAN55 and also assign an IP address to that. So the database server should be, I guess, okay. So right now we should be able to ping from the VXLAN to the normal VLAN because the bridge is already there, right? So let me test that. Somehow it doesn't work, so I need to troubleshoot it. So let me see if all the interfaces are in the correct network. So we say that a web server is connected to the bridge to a VXLAN, which is correct. And the database server, oh wait, if I actually selected VLAN 11 here, VLAN 55 here, should be selected here. That's why the database server was not able to, and is right now able to ping to my default gateway at least. And I believe that solved the problem, and I'm able to ping to my physical, well, server on a physical VLAN. And the other way around, should be able to ping to the 100, and it works as well. So let's do another test just to make it complete. I'm going to this server, the web server, is in the VXLAN. I'm going to try to ping to my physical switch 253, and it all works. So that means that my bridge is working, and the complete connection, well, from this web server to the logical switch to the logical distribution router, and then from the logical distribution router to the virtual distribution switch, which has a VLAN that lives on the physical network, and that was VLAN55.